This is Unit 10, Lesson 2, Volume of Cones. We're going to start with the bell ringer. So this is asking you to find the equation of the line. So we need to find the slope and the y-intercept. So if I draw my slope triangle on the graph, I can see I'm moving up 8 places and going over 2 places. So my change in y is 8, and my change in x is 2. So the slope is 4. And then the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So it crosses at 1. And if I put that together into my equation, I get y equals 4x plus 1. Okay, move down to the next question. This is asking you to find the missing side of this triangle, so we'll need to use the Pythagorean theorem. So remember, that's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if I look at my picture, my hypotenuse is the c, and then these other 2 sides don't really matter if they're a or b. So I'm going to do 9 squared plus b squared equals 12 squared. So I have 81 plus b squared equals 144. Since the numbers are on opposite sides, I'm going to subtract the 81. So I get b squared equals 63. And then to get rid of the squared, I'm going to square root the 63. It says round to the nearest tenth, so I'm going to have 7.9 feet. Okay, go ahead and turn to the next page when you're ready. So last time you learned about the volume of cylinders, so remember that the formula for that is volume equals pi r squared h. So go ahead and take a minute and find the volume of these 3 cylinders. Pause the video while you do that. Okay, now that you've found the volume of these 3 cylinders, we're going to just run through it real quick. Remember, you need to write the formula each time. And remember, the radius is half of the half of the distance across the circle. So in this case, the radius would be 1.5. So volume equals 3.14 times 1.5 squared times the height, which is 6.5. And if you put all of that in your calculator, your volume will be 45.9 yards cubed. And don't forget your units on there. Okay, the next one, we already have the radius on there, so I'll write the formula and then plug in the numbers. So 3.14 times 7.5 squared times 16, and put that all in your calculator. You should have gotten 2,826 millimeters cubed. Okay, and then this last one, we need to find the radius. So I'm going to divide that diameter in half. So I know the radius is 2.25. And write down the formula. So I know I'm going to have 3.14 for pi. The radius is 2.25. And the height is 1.5. So then the volume is 23.8 inches cubed. Okay, so that's just a review of what we did last time for cylinders. So today we're going to be doing volume of cones. There's a video on Canvas that you'll need to watch about the volume of cones. So go back to Canvas and watch that, and then come back here when you're done. So you've watched the video on pouring water from a cone into a cylinder. So the cone and the cylinder had 2 things in common. They had the same height and the same base area. Okay, so we'll skip number 2 because you didn't really predict, but then on question number 3, it says how many times did the cone have to be filled to fit inside the cylinder? So it will have to be filled 3 times. which means that if you're finding the volume of a cone, you're going to take the volume of a cylinder and then you're going to divide it by 3 because a cone is 1/3 of a cylinder. So this is the formula that you need to have memorized for a cone. Okay, let's go to the next page and practice that. So remember, each time you need to write the formula down. So let's start with number 1. So volume is pi r squared h divided by 3. So I'll plug in pi is 3.14, the radius is 2, and the height is 4. And then don't forget to divide it by 3 because it's 1/3 of a cylinder. So when you plug all that in your calculator, you should get 16.7 yards cubed. Okay, number 2. We'll write the formula again, pi r squared h divided by 3. Pi is 3.14. The radius is 17, so 17 squared times 20, and then don't forget to divide it by 3. After you put all that in your calculator, you should get 6,049.7 inches cubed. Okay, question number 3 gives you the diameter because it's all the way across. So the radius is going to be half of that. So the radius is 3.5 meters. And then we'll do the same thing. So we'll have the formula, pi r squared h divided by 3. And then we'll plug in the numbers that we know. So 3.14 times 3.5 squared times 4. And then divide that by 3. And then after your calculator, you should have 51.3 meters cubed. So at this point, I want you to pause the video and do 4, 5, and 6 on your own. And then when you're ready, come back to the video and we'll go through those together. Okay, question number 4. We're going to write down the formula. So pi r squared h divided by 3. I know that pi is 3.14. The radius is 3.6 squared, and the height is 5.2. And then divide that by 3. So the volume of this cone is 70.5 meters cubed. Okay, number 5. So the formula again is pi r squared h divided by 3. I'm going to plug in the pi, and then 9.4 is the radius, so that will be squared times 6 divided by 3. So after you put it in your calculator, you should have gotten 554.9 feet cubed. Okay, and then number 6, hopefully you noticed that they gave you the diameter, so you need to split that in half to find the radius. So that would have been 9.35. And then pi r squared h divided by 3. So we'll have 3.14. The radius is 9.35 squared. And your height is 6.8. And you'll divide that by 3. And your volume comes out to be 622.2 centimeters cubed. Okay, number 7 says a trucking company needs to move a pile of gravel. The gravel is stored in a pile shaped like a cone. The pile is 12 yards high and has a base diameter of 6 yards. How many truckloads will the company need if each truck holds 6.28 cubic yards of gravel? Okay, so we're going to start by finding the volume of this cone. So I'll write down the formula and then fill in what I know. So I know 3.14 says that the diameter is 6, so that means that the radius is 3. So 3 squared, and the height is 12. Divided by 3. So after I put that in the calculator, you should get 113.04 yards cubed. Notice the directions say to not round it, so I just left it as exactly what I got. And then if each truck holds 6.28 cubic yards of gravel, I'm going to take the total amount of gravel I have, and I'm going to divide it by 6.28, so that'll tell me how many truckloads I need, which turns out to be 18 loads. Okay, this is the end of this section of new stuff for notes for the volume of cones. We are also doing a little bit of a RISE testing review. So on page 16 in your packet, you'll have a space to do the quizzes activity, and that information will be on Canvas.